I had a file that was under 1.14 megabytes and I was in course in 1991, I think my favorite storage medium would be the floppy disk.
I gotta go with the floppy disk, man. It's like, you have to.
If I had a file that was under 1.14 megabytes, the first thing I would think of in the 90s would be to put it on a floppy disk because, I mean, really, where else would you put it?
Probably put it on a floppy disk, by my knowledge.
I mean, it's like ketchup on a hot dog. You just have to do it.
Imagine a world without Blu-ray discs, without DVD, not even compact disc. A world without internet. This is the world of 1967, the year floppy disks were born.
My fondest memory of floppy disks, I've actually never seen a floppy disk until right now.
Sometimes, when I was younger, a very young child, and there were floppy disks, I'd build them up like a tower because we had so many of them. And then I'd take my action figures and I'd knock them over.
My fondest memory with a floppy disk would probably be when I was, I don't know, maybe 8 to 10, somewhere in that range. My parents had these old floppy disks that were, I don't even know if they were ever used, but it was this big case of them. So what I thought would be a good idea would be to take them and make them into a, I don't know, saucer of some sort, or a frisbee, if you will. And they worked fairly well, actually. So, probably my fondest memory.
I believe the reason they are called floppy disks is that inside the protective plastic casing, the actual memory is stored on a very, very floppy-like data disk.
I would assume they would call floppy disks is because they're floppy.
Because the early ones could actually flop around, and they were very floppable.
If I recall correctly, the amount of time it took floppy disks to load was probably around the same time a mother has to hold a baby in her womb.
It's very current because the first one I use is still loading. We kind of made art out of them.
Probably third grade. I had to do a PowerPoint project, and my mom helped me do it. I'm like, Mom, well, how am I gonna get this to my school? She goes, watch this. She pulls out a floppy disk, plugs it into the computer, bada bing, bada boom. I have my PowerPoint. It was the most amazing experience of my life.
Significant, why? They were very significant because that's how we started to have portable memory instead of just a hard drive. The beginning of computers, we had to store all our programs on the computers wouldn't run without a floppy disk. So you had to put a floppy disk on one drive and another in the second drive, so you had two dual floppy drives to make the computer run.
It was the year 1967, and something amazing happened. At IBM in San Jose, California, David Noble and his team were tasked with creating a new storage medium for computers. Before this period of time, computers used punch cards and reels of tape, and very expensive, extremely large hard drives for data reading and writing. This fragile magnetic storage medium created by the California and IBM team is what we now know as a floppy disk. While later incarnations of the disk were much smaller and harder to the touch than the original 8-inch disks, floppy disks were initially large and very floppy.
So everything was on a floppy drive, either a 3.5 inch or a 5 1/4 inch diskette. So the fact that you could box them up, there were 10 to 12 in a box, because that's how many floppy disks it would take to, let's say, Office. To install Office, it was 10 or 12 floppy disks. Wow, Office was a big one. All of the Windows versions. There was Corelware, which was huge. Lotus, which was a Lotus Suite, which was a software package. It was called Lotus 123, and that was big before really Office came in for businesses. Games like Doom, those were huge. And so, yeah, we had walls and walls and walls of software because there was no internet at the time. So it was all on floppy.
Without floppy disks, the computer world as we know it today would be a very different one. Inventions such as the flash drive and the compact disk may have never seen the light of day. We can all thank David L. Noble and his team at IBM for inventing probably one of the most important inventions in history.